That's right. Go home and tell your mom about us.
I am so glad. Thank you. The chat room is saying hell no. So everything you just did was just a waste of time. Okay, it just said hell no.
Can you imagine our Miko in a morph suit?
Well, get an example of a woman in the suit.
We go see. That's what I'm saying. Most of the morph suit wearers are men. Because why? Because we're idiots. Basically,
okay.
We're idiots. Just some shit men do. You know, climb things and jump off of shit. That's what men do. Obviously, morph suits. But can you imagine your favorite female in a morph suit?
Oh, now see, you want to go there.
I'm just saying, ladies, surprise your boyfriend. Let him come home and find you in a morph suit.
You know what?
I'm just saying. And they're washable.
You know what?
They are. They're washable.
You've had too much time.
All right, we're going to come right back, ladies and gentlemen, with our guests.
Yes. This is it.
So get ready.
Get ready for it, right?
Get ready.
I'm glad you got past that moment, man. I can't wait to get to this moment. You know, you got the FBI is here right now, man. FBI right here.
I see.
Neo-urban
Right back.
internet television, broadcasting 24/7. The new in cyberspace. This is Mac McAllister, host of Online with Mac, Retro Jazz and Blues, extending to you a personal invitation to check out Pack Stereo TV. You're saying to yourself, well, why should I? I thought you would never ask. Here's the reason. If you happen to be a performer, maybe you have your own indie label and you want to take it to the next level, here's what Pack Stereo TV has to offer. Over 350 channels in development. Hip-hop to jazz, spoken word to current social and economic news. Now this is important. Networking for media professionals. Check out the Cyber Dream Team, Mirio, Danielle, and Victor.
Yeah.
McAllister sent you.
That's right, Matt McAllister, GNM Bureau Chief out there in the chat room. Vic?
Yes, sir.
I think it's time.
I was waiting for this one. I just felt that you were doing too much exhaling.
Too much exhaling?
Yeah.
Well, let's sing then.
Here we go.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Getting to like you, getting to hope you like me. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly we're all bright and breezy because of all the wonderful and new things we're learning about you here today. Yeah! Brandy Ford, Tara, Dimitrovic. I got it.
You did it.
Yes.
Okay.
Kickstarting, everybody. Welcome to our guest. Let's take a look.
Bam.
Now, in order to tell you, first of all, Vic, tell them how we came to be here.
We owe our respects and props to Lachelle Sargent. Although she likes to sit back and keep her name out of there, I won't give her too much props. MSNBC, I'm going to say it that way. Okay. And you know what? Lachelle's always, she's an advocate, not only for friendship, for people who are actually doing things and great things. So when she told me about a project, and I've always told her I want to be around filmmakers, just to stand on the cusp of it. Told me about this wonderful, wonderful person, Brandy Ford, who actually we hung out, don't tell anybody, at a movie one time, but I didn't know, I thought it was a big pimping. I had 2 girls one time. Anyway, so I hung out and then didn't realize the greatness I was around. And she said, FYI, you need to go check out the Kickstarter campaign they're having. I said, I would love to catch live things where, they don't know I'm really coming, and how it's going to be arranged. We did this back in May. And it was a wonderful, wonderful moment because I had a wonderful speaker on behalf of it. It was somewhat emotional. And it told me a lot about how big this project is and its enormity. And at that time, I had a different look about Brandy and Tara. I actually said, okay, I went to look the behind the scenes, the blog spots, everything. I said, oh my God, you guys have been doing, it's massive. It really is massive what you have done. And so at that time, I said, well, one day we'll get them in the studio. And then Lachelle, of course, said, let's do this. And we're now blessed to have them in the studio with us.
I'll tell you, and it's so amazing that we continue to be blessed by stumbling upon the most entrepreneuring young females.
Yeah.
For some reason, and I don't know why the ratio is what we're experiencing.
Right.
It's more than twice as many.
Yeah. All
For
day.
some reason that we come across, so let's give it up for the ladies.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's the way it's coming. You know, we talk about it here. We love to say more than eye candy. So
Definitely.
much more than eye candy because we meet the women that are doing things. They are leading the men
Yes.
in so many areas. They don't need any help with doing what they have to do.
Right.
They can bring their own, and we're so proud of them. In order to set this off and give everybody an idea of just what we're talking about, let's show the little piece unmuted. Okay, just to give them an idea of what we're talking about.
Hey everyone, I'm Brandy Ford,
And I'm Tara Tomichevich.
and we're the producers of the short film Muted.
We're so excited to make this film, but we need your help.
Take a look. The nightmare of having a loved one disappear is unthinkable. When that loved one is your child, it's agonizing. And if that child happens to be a child of color, their disappearance is likely to receive very little media attention, leaving their families to deal with it on their own. This short film is about one such family.
According to the FBI, minorities make up 40% of all missing person cases. The U.S. Department of Justice lists children of color as a whopping 65% of all missing children's cases, but you'd never know it by watching the news. How many names of the following missing persons look familiar to you? How about now?
Wow.
Stark difference, huh?
Our story follows Lena Gladwell, a mother who struggles to capture the attention of the media when her teenage daughter Crystal disappears. It's a character-driven, fictional short film that peeks into the lives of this family at their darkest hour. The script is written, the locations are set, and casting will soon be underway. Now all we need to do is secure funding in order to begin production, and that's where you come in.
We decided to launch a Kickstarter campaign not only to raise money, but to connect with and get input from you, our audience. The way that Kickstarter works is that we have to meet our goal of raising $15,000 or we don't get a single penny. This all or nothing approach means if you decide to donate, your credit card will not be charged until the day our campaign ends, and only if we're successful in reaching our goal. If you'd like to help us reach it, you can show your support by sharing this link freely and often, and of course by making a pledge. No pledge is too big or too small, and here are a few ways that it can help.
We only have 1 month, that's right, just 30 days to meet our goal, so take a look below, check out the rewards we're offering, and please consider pledging now to become a part of bringing this film to life.
Everybody, welcome my guests, Brandy Ford and Tara Tomichevich. Getting easier the more I do it.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
Did a good job.
Ladies, welcome.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank
Hi.
you for having us.
Tell us about this journey.
Oh my goodness.
Just got chills watching
I
that.
know. We haven't seen that video. in
Well,
a
and you know
long
what?
time.
Feel free to start way back because our
Way,
folks.
way back.
Well,
goes way back.
well, I'm gonna get there ultimately to your childhood, but our folks. No, I'm serious. We always like to know what it is about certain people that make them go out and do things. You know, here you go, because you're doing it without any guarantees. You usually, you know, flying by the seat of your pants, and yet you still feel compelled to go out and do these things. So we think that those stories are so motivational because so many of us won't try for lack of guarantees. How many people want a guarantee before they do anything? So tell us about how this got started.
Sure. So this got started about 2 years ago, actually. At the time, I was working on a documentary about Mitrice Richardson, who was a young woman, beautiful young black woman who went missing out in Malibu.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
incident.
it was, and it's interesting because that story actually did get a lot of media coverage, especially in California. But while I was working on that project through social media, I started hearing about a lot of other young black women and children and men who went missing, and nobody was covering them. You know, I was just hearing their names and seeing their names on Facebook and Twitter. And so it got the wheels turning, and I tell Tara, it was a month where I had, we couldn't afford cable or internet. So I used that month to write.
Wow.
And that was what was going on in my head at the time, and that's what I was concerned with. So I wrote this. So it's not based on one singular true story, but it is based on some of the experiences I read about families who, you know, were trying to find their missing loved one, and no one was helping them.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background, Brandy. Where'd you grow up?
Everywhere. I was born in Pomona, California. Hey, but
we'll give Pomona a little bit.
Yeah.
Bam.
There you go. And even though I'm not in a military family, we moved a lot, so Vegas became my hometown.
Okay.
So I consider Vegas my hometown. That's where my parents still are. Went to a performing arts high school there. Then graduated and moved to Texas, Houston. I went to Texas Southern University.
All right.
TSU Tigers out there. Well. and then came out here almost 5 years ago to pursue this acting and writing thing, and met Tara shortly thereafter.
Now, how did you get going into this acting and writing thing? Where did that appear in your life?
Oh gosh, probably when I was 3 or 4 at church.
Wow.
Doing church musicals every Christmas. You know, you got to do the baby Jesus, and we're singing and dancing and getting on that stage. So yeah, since I was a child, I've been performing. And like I said, when I went into high school, my mom heard about a performing arts high school. I auditioned for that, and that really sort of took things to the next level. I got to see how hard you have to work, at least to do theater.
Right.
And I loved it. And then when I went to college, I was a theater major as well. So all my life.
So how did you come to join it with your partner here?
You can take that one.
Well, we took a class together, a business of the business class for actors.
Oh,
And,
all right, everybody, let's not skip that. That's a big deal because
Ironically
a lot of people
enough,
probably skipped that class, right, Tara?
Yes. And it was a huge blessing. I mean, I think week 1, we were going around introducing ourselves, and Brandy did her little spiel, and I went, her. And like that night afterwards, we're all hanging out, and I was like, hi, I'm Tara.
And ever since then.
That was it.
Wow.
Amazing how the universe works.
It was funny though, because when we first met, I felt the opposite, because she was so young, so much younger than me. I was just like, who is this little girl? What is this? She was like so focused and so like I was just like, what is going on? But she I came to find out she was very focused and about her stuff, and she's one of those people, like out here you meet a lot of people who talk a good game, but
right.
She was one of those
Especially
people that was
Cali.
like, we should get together and do something, and she meant it. So ever since then I was like, oh yeah, we can work together.
Well, let's find out about your background, Tara.
Also everywhere. Also very much everywhere. Also not a military family, but sounds like it. Very much sounds like it. I was born in Croatia.
Wow,
Yeah.
Croatia. Now again,
Croatia.
what do we say? Americans, what did Mark Twain say? Americans, war
your
is the way Americans learn geography. Through war. But go
So
on.
next to Italy. You all know where the boot is, right? Right next to it. And I was 4, we moved to Italy. And I lived in Italy for 6 years. And then we moved to the States. And I was in New York for a little bit and in Utah for a little bit. And then we settled in Sacramento. And then I went to college at Berkeley. And then I moved down right after.
Now, what did you do? What did you study at Berkeley?
I studied mass communications.
Wow.
So I was too practical to get a theater degree.
I like that. Notice how she said
couldn't do
that.
it. I couldn't do it.
You want to eat? It's the same reason why I went to graduate school while doing this stuff. on the side.
Right.
Yeah, you want to eat.
That was.
So what was your? How did you? What was the discovering within you of your creative side?
I don't know if it was 3 or 4. It wasn't.
Notice how far it goes. It always goes at least a little ways
that
back.
far back. I can remember as early as like 7 or 8 imitating films, like imitating different scenes in my bedroom. Just being really, really fascinated in like what it looked like and cinematography and the relationships that were created but weren't real, but there was truth between 2 people on screen. I remember that always fascinated me. I started taking classes and started doing theater and started doing professional theater while in college in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and loved it, but theater wasn't ever exactly what I wanted. I missed the intimacy of camera, and not a fan of the technicalities of theater, of like projecting and shooting out to an audience. And it was a beautiful intro, and I wouldn't exchange it for anything, but I knew that I wanted to be here, and I knew that camera work and writing and producing was what I wanted.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now when you saw Brandy in that class, did you have any idea what kind of projects you wanted to do? Because that was kind of early on now.
That was early on. At the time, what I wanted was to shoot a scene for a reel, which was like, it's like 45-second thing. That's what I wanted.
Which we did.
Very shortly after, and that was kind of the start of it.
So then how did you guys get this idea of going on to make Muted? I know you got the idea of the story.
Yeah.
Where did you get the idea of coming together as a team? Because at some point you had either tell her about what you wanted to do.
Yeah, very early on, actually.
Or something.
I wrote this. I wrote a version of this back in January of 2012, and I showed it to her at the end of that month. And I said, there's a small part in here for you, so we can both be in this together, but I'm going to need help producing this. And at the time, she read it like the next day, and she was like, yeah, I'll help you produce it. But at the time, we still had no idea that we were going to put in as much time and effort as we have. We, at that moment, just thought, oh, we'll get some friends together, we'll get a camera, we'll just shoot this little thing and call it a day. And we, like the next month, we organized with our actor friends a table read. And that I think kind of set everything in motion, because hearing other actors, read the parts. We actually didn't even read at that time. We just heard other people do it so we could hear it. And then getting their feedback right after, and then so many of them saying, there's a feature here, you should expand into a feature. You guys really should make this. From then on, we were like, okay, what do we need to do to actually make this happen? And we knew from that moment, like, it's not going to come from our bank accounts. This is going to be something more than what we can afford to do with our own powers. So that was 2 years ago. And
so, Miss Producer, how did you tackle that? That's a pretty, foreboding, and it's the common challenge to those of us who are trying to make things. Right. And I noticed that Brandy kind of said, looks towards you. That's why I turned to you and said, whose idea was it to go Kickstarter? How did that come up?
That was certainly both of us. And even between the table read and Kickstarter, there was 15,000 steps. I mean, I feel like Kickstarter was like.
Tell us about what tell us about what was going through your, because this was new to you also, I guess. Even having been in class and seen those kind of things. Tell us about the early parts of that and what that was like.
So when she first wrote the first draft, I believe it was around 35, 40 pages.
Yeah.
So you just kind of threw up an idea.
Yeah.
And when we had the table read, we had so many people say, well, if you're going to make it a short, it should probably be shorter. But you should also make it a feature, so it should be longer. So we were like right in this middle land of, we can't do anything with this. So we just got to editing. And she always wrote, and I just gave notes and notes and notes. And
she was, and let me just say, she was brutal in her notes, which is a good thing. But just for those writers out there, if you are going to be partnering with someone, it should be someone who you can feel comfortable trusting that what they're saying is coming out of love. Because there would be plenty of times where she'd send me something and I just roll my eyes like, ugh. I don't want to change that. Why? Yeah. But then ultimately I would, and it made for a better piece. So
got to be willing to have that critic. Actually, people are valuable if they won't criticize. Because we all have those friends, as much as we love you, who love everything we do.
Yes.
Everything we do is the greatest. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
And we love you, but it's not helpful all the time.
Correct. Yeah.
And at that point, even though it was early on, I feel like we were both so invested that I couldn't let anything go. You know, I was like, well, if we've already put in this much time and effort and your hopes are up and your emotions are involved, I can't.
You know, and the interesting thing was, too, at that early stage, I had sort of been sitting with this idea for a while, and it was very new to her. So, like, some of the people that she would send it to, who weren't black, actually, I remember that email that you sent that was like, are you sure it's just a race thing? Are you sure? It's got to be 100 different other factors. And I was like, it's not just a race thing, but let me show you what the research says. And so I started sending her article after article after article.
Oh yeah, to discuss the topic.
Said like, okay, there's this huge percentage of missing people who are people of color, but you're never seeing them.
Totally.
And once she started reading one article after another, then it was like, then she was just, I won't even say fired up. Then she was just like heartbroken, like, God, you can't ignore numbers because they don't lie. Right. So that was interesting as well, just sort of having to, and it was good to sort of have those conversations with her, because I knew once we actually shot this thing that there would be people out there who would say like, well, how true is this, and how relevant is this, and is this really happening? And yeah, it really is.
Well, I want you guys to know, people in the chat room are responding already. Mac McAllister and GNM Bureau Chief, and they were saying, wow, they enjoyed the promo, and they're really inspired by your use of Kickstarter. Let's go take a look at the Kickstarter. I want to hear about what that experience was. Tell them about what Kickstarter is.
Kickstarter is a crowdfunding website that allows artists and entrepreneurs to present their project and ask for support, financial support. So people can go online and see the presentation like you just showed ours, read about us and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and they're able to donate and help make it happen.
And they get something in return. Yes. So there's we had people who donated $1, and we were thankful because those dollars added up. Mm-hmm. And then we had people who donated, I think 1,000 was the highest. And so you could choose at any level that you were comfortable with. And the great thing about Kickstarter, there's two main platforms, Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Kickstarter is the one where it's all or nothing. So if we did not reach our goal, which was $15,000, we wouldn't get anything by the time our 30 days were up. So the pressure was on us to make sure we hit.
But you hit number. It.
We did.
Look at this. This project successfully raised its funding goal on June 30th, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bam.
15,000, and you have $16,270 pledged. My, congratulations, lady.
Thank you.
Again, that says something about your ability to inspire other folks to believe in your dream. That's one thing about Kickstarter that is so wonderful, we think, is that it gives you a chance to take things directly to the people. So now what? Mm-hmm. So where do we sit today?
So much has happened.
Kickstarter feels like it was like a different lifetime. Like so much has happened since Kickstarter, and that was June. We
June.
Kickstarted the month of June, so it wasn't that long ago. But
no, it wasn't. And right after Kickstarter, we are in the cast, but we are not the lead.
Okay.
So right after, we set about looking for our lead, and.
It does never get old. It does not get old.
So we got Chandra Wilson, aka Dr. Bailey from Grey's Anatomy, to star.
Bam.
She plays Lena Gladwell. She plays the mother of the daughter who goes missing, and we were ecstatic to get her. We got Danielle Watts, who is just a beautiful shining star. She could be seen in Django. She had a couple episodes in Weeds. She played Crystal, who is my younger sister who goes missing. Tara plays Sasha, Crystal's best friend. We got Ross McCall. People know him from Band of Brothers. He's one of our detectives.
Wow, yes.
Lewis Tallow. Yeah. He's one of our other detectives. And then the last person that we got to sign on to play my father was Malcolm Jamal Warner. So
whoa!
We got
Yeah,
really
big
lucky,
pimpin'.
blessed, whatever word you want to use. We got
Luck.
a great cast.
Love the sound effects.
Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
That's right. That's right. There was a lot of preparation.
That's right.
And not to miss the point why she keeps rubbing that wonderful stomach. I don't know
Oh.
how long you guys would go without acknowledging that there's a spirit in this studio.
There's another
and I was
person.
timing it. I was going like this to say, okay,
A bundle of
there's
joy.
this is a special moment, and you forgot. You know what?
Sorry.
She's gonna come out
I know.
mad as hell
I
at
know.
you.
Like, hello.
I'm
Yes,
here too.
there's a baby in here.
First
coming
starring
out February
role.
21st. So
There you go.
Baby.
And the real hard work has not begun.
that's true.
Okay.
That's true. So we shot in early October. It was a 3-day shoot. It was fantastic. It was challenging because the money that we raised covered shooting and it's covered post, but it was still very tight. And we had to have a lot of people either worked for free or for very not their normal rate because they believed in the script and they believed in what we were doing. And it was a great 3 days that I wish could happen again and again. And it will. But so now we're in post. So now we have these fantastic editors, Long Lost Pictures, who are currently working on putting together the first cut along with Rachel Goldberg, our director. They're working hand in hand, and we can't wait to see the rough cut. We've seen dailies, so we've seen some footage, and we're
beautiful.
very, very happy.
Yeah.
Richard, how do I say his last name? Viale?
Viale?
Richard Viale, awesome young African American cinematographer, did a wonderful job. Wonderful job.
Some of the chat room are also wondering what it was like to get a check from Kickstarter. How does that work? I mean, how does that work? Does it just like come in the mail? Tell us the experience
That
of
would
the
be
check.
Okay.
Exciting.
I want you to see that big of a, yeah.
Take a picture of that.
I know.
No, it's all digital. It's a lot less exciting than
So
that. You know, it
it's-
just gets
yeah.
straight into a bank account and it's there. You know.
Well, I mean, it was exciting to see when it was actually deposited. To
But see, to get at least a notification email, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
From
You-
0 to
we went from
60,000.
0 to like, because Kickstarter does. For those who don't know, they do take their fees. So Kickstarter and Amazon both have roughly about 5% each. So when it was all said and done, we had like 15,000 after the fees were taken. And so to see that number in the bank account to go from 0 to all of a sudden, and the way they do it, they don't make one big deposit. They make little deposits from each person's account.
Okay.
Because the people aren't charged until you reach your goal. Because if you don't reach your goal, they're not charged. So as people were charged, and all of a sudden we started getting these little deposits that added up to 15,000 in the span of a week, and it was awesome. It was like that was the moment where we were like, we are making
This is
a
happening.
movie.
Oh my God. This is actually
We're
going to happen.
doing this. It was so like there had been so many setbacks up until then of people coming, people going, and like, will we ever do this? And finally, at that moment, was like, we're doing it. So when we got that, for those of you who are going to go on Kickstarter, that's a wonderful
good
moment.
week.
It is. It's a good
That was
week.
a really good week.
And it just sat in the account for a while we updated the budget and figured out, who needed to be paid first. We ordered checks so we could pay people. That's when we started working on deal memos for the cast and crew. That's really when the producing stuff, like the paperwork portion, really kicked in, because before we paid anyone, we wanted to make sure we had our ducks in a row so that we didn't get bit in the end. And that's when we started having production meetings with all the department heads, and things just started steamrolling from there.
Now, for those who want to follow the ongoing saga that is Muted, the movie, where can they go? What should they do?
A few different places. So we have a website.
Okay, and I can try to pull up stuff too.
Do it. It is mutedthemovie.com. That would probably be the main place.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question real quick while he's doing that.
Yeah.
Were actors or actresses really approaching you, or did you have to go and pitch them? Either answer, either person.
Both.
Both?
It was both. It really was a combo.
Okay.
Yeah.
We put it out initially back in May, I think, we put out a breakdown on Actors Access and Breakdown Express, which is what most actors use, and we did get a lot of submissions from there, which was great. And then we had the Facebook page, which is another place you can go, which is facebook.com/mutedthemovie. And so
I love it. Muted the movie, everybody. Keeps it simple for those of us with learning disabilities.
This isn't easy.
Muted the movie.
Very simple.
Muted the movie.
Across the board. So we got some messages and emails from actors there as well. I mean, the problem is it is a short film, so there aren't as many characters as the feature will have. But so it was a mixture of both, and we thought we were going to end up having auditions, but we ended up not needing to because we obviously, for example, Chandra Wilson, we know her work. And so we approached her agent and her manager and pitched it to them, sent them the script, and they talked to us and agreed.
Well, everybody, take a look again. You know, we love to bring you the realities of these revolutions, and people like Brandy Ford, like Tara Tomicevic. They are the real deal. They are the real story. That's why there inherently is an integrity to taking a look at these kinds of things, because they serve as examples to us, as to reminders that we too can do things. You have to dream big, and then you have to take the steps to go turn it into a reality.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any special other messages you'd like to send out to everyone, to our listening team, Brandy or Tara?
Well, first of all, if there are any listeners, viewers who did give, or even if you didn't give but you shared our Kickstarter back in May, thank you, because we couldn't have done it without you. But for those of you who are in our shoes and are working on writing stuff, honestly, surround yourself with a good team, because it makes such a difference to have people who, you can't be a one-man or one-woman show. It just doesn't work that way. You have to know that what you do is great, but there are other people who do what they do better than you, so let them do it.
Yeah, and also just to remember that it's all such a journey, and something feels like a success one day, and then the day after we walked off set, we were like, okay, get back to writing the feature. And it's just you enjoy it for like a second, and then you go, oh yeah, there was a reason we did this short. We want to make this feature.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when that happens, it's going to go, oh, and then we have to market the feature. Then it has to get into this festival, and then we have to get this person attached, and then we have to write, So it's just to enjoy the journey, because if you're looking for that one thing that's going to make you happy, it's just not the case.
It's a reminder that I tell people of the two kinds of folks we tend to run into. Those who are trying to get as far as they can on the least effort, and those who are trying to get as far as they can on the most effort.
Yeah.
And they're nothing alike.
Agreed.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guests, Brandy Ford, Tara Tomicevic, Muted the Movie. Go and take a look. Support them. Support these kinds of efforts like we do here at the Morning Coffee. All right?
Yeah, I feel